Well, let's speak to someone in the country where Barack Obama's father came from. Rosie is a journalism student in Nairobi. Rosie, we appreciate you going to the BBC's bureau in Nairobi to speak to us. Do you think President Obama deserves this award?
Well, thank you very much. I think President Obama really does. I think he does. I think this award, this Nobel Prize, is. I think it works for him. Because I look at him as someone many Kenyans identify with, many Africans identify with. I think it's high time the Nobel Prize is not only looked at as an achievement, but also as a symbol. You know, I look at it as symbolism for the story of an ordinary person. Many people look up to him all over the world, so it's not only an American thing, a Kenyan thing, but he is an image out there, and I think he does. He does deserve the award.
So you say he does deserve the award. This idea of inspiration is interesting. Let me just quickly bring in Matthew. Do you feel that this will inspire Africans, or do you think that's just more hype that won't be delivered upon?
Yes, of course, it may inspire Africans that he has won the Nobel Peace Prize. But at the same time, I think there is need also to look beyond the developed countries as well, and beyond the power that a country has. I think if we make a recognition of what is happening in developing countries, there are other catastrophes that are going unreported. I think I'm not privy to the judging criteria of the selection committee, but I would have wanted them also to look at the lives that were perishing in Zimbabwe and the depth of the economic crisis which was in Zimbabwe and the rule of law which had been disintegrated. And there was no war in that country because of President Tsvangirai's resilience. He was a man of peace, a man who actually turned a pariah state into something that can, have hope for the people of Zimbabwe.
You say there's still hope. I think some people watching this program may feel that Zimbabwe is still a pariah state, but maybe that's a debate for another program. I'm very keen to go to Osama in Cairo and also back to Shaima, because I know a lot of you are emailing us. But before I do, in case you didn't hear President Obama speaking outside of the White House a few minutes ago, here's some of what he had to say.
I am both surprised and deeply humbled by the decision of the Nobel Committee. Let me be clear, I do not view it as a recognition of my own accomplishments, but rather as an affirmation of American leadership on behalf of aspirations held by people in all nations. To be honest, I do not feel that I deserve to be in the company of so many of the transformative figures who've been honored by this prize.
So that's what President Obama had to say. Let's hear what some of you have had to say through worldhaveyoursay.com. Shaima, what have you got?
Well, this is a tweet from Proxy saying, a Nobel Peace Prize for President Obama. I thought the prize was given to you for what you have achieved, not what you promised to achieve. And this is from Alex in Ethiopia saying, I believe that now is not the time to award this to Mr. Obama. However, he is a visionary and a lot of people have hope in him. And Angus in London saying, not yet a worthy winner. A fine man, yes, with good intentions, but awarding the Nobel Peace Prize on the basis of future good deeds makes it a mockery. Remember, you can join the conversation as well. Our blog address is worldhaveyoursay.com, and you can join us on Twitter.
Shaima, thank you very much. OK, let's address this point head on, which so many of you have emailed about, and that you're saying he's a very good talker, but where are the specifics? Let's go to Osama in Cairo. Osama, what do you think President Obama can actually achieve, let's say, in the next 12 months? Give me something you think he'll make progress on.
I think he will make progress on the Iranian nuclear issue. He will open up talks with Cuba, and he will definitely move the peace process in the Middle East. What has already moved and achievements on the ground, there are small achievements already which not everybody feels, but the U.S. foreign policy has dramatically changed since he came into power. And as Mariam previously said, he has inherited so much heavy luggage which he now has to solve. But the U.S. foreign policy on the ground in Egypt and in the rest of the countries has dramatically changed. Even so, we have the same ambassadors executing. But since he came into power and changed the tone of voice, things have changed on the ground. The US is more of a team player globally now, and we are including other nations. We are widening up the G8 to a G20 on the economic issue. Even on all other issues, he's more
Simon, I'm going to interrupt
Russia.
you because you're giving me a very long list, but let's take the first three things you mentioned. You mentioned Iran, you mentioned Cuba, and you mentioned the Middle East. Let's talk about your country, Maryam, Iran. Do you think relations will improve?
Yes, I hope so. And this is
but why do you hope so when President Ahmadinejad went on NBC less than a month ago and said all of the same things he said before President Obama was in office? There was no discernible change in tone.
No, I would say after we have to look at the implementation of these promises. Obama, for the last 8 months, has promised that it would open up negotiations with Iran, which he managed to do it, of course, through his representative in the 5+1 in Geneva, which this is an opening, I think, a chapter in Middle East, recognizing Iranian nation that they had a revolution, and of course, again, the need for recognizing South Americans issues such as Cuba, Venezuela, and the importance,
I'm going to have to wrap you up. I'm sorry, because we're coming...
I just want to state one last thing regarding Middle East.
I can't move the news, I'm afraid, so I'm going to have to interrupt you. I know, Saeed, you've got another point. Maybe we can pick it up on the blog or on the radio programme later. But our time is just about up now on BBC World News. We can, of course, keep this debate going on a lot longer. Go to worldhaveyoursay.com if you'd like, or I'll be on BBC Radio in an hour's time. You can listen live at bbcworldservice.com. Thanks for your company. I'll speak to you very soon. Goodbye.